What we've been doing here, we've been doing a study through our night book, and the series is called The Confidence Game by Maria Coney Cover. The confidence game, just talking about con artists, 419, mogul, those are trying to mogul people and trying to learn what they do in a bit that we can sharpen our own skill not to fall victim of such people. And there's just so many of them. The more I read this, the more I meditate into this, the more I see people that I've seen while I lived out in California, while I lived out in Houston, Texas, you know, uh, a whole lot more than I find in Nigeria. I don't know why Nigeria seems to be overbeaten as the crime world, but there are a whole lot more in the US than you'll find in Nigeria. And even the US, they are organized, registered, government known. It's like it's a part of the culture out there. So the more you can know that, the more you can save yourself, from someone stealing, taking away your hard-earned money. So that's what we're doing as for lenders, and we've decided to not just stay at learning this, but to use it to see how we can apply it also in different areas of our life, because they're the positive aspects of this game that we can learn from, we can apply, that would help us in different aspects of our life. Some of this could be used for ordinary selling, because the con game is simply selling a product that is not true. But you could also sell a product that is true, using this same skills, tips from the con game. Unlike the con game that is selling something that is not ethical, you can sell something that's ethical. You can send something that's of value to your customers, as against the con game trying to deprive people of their money, giving them something that is not of value for a big value they're getting from them. But you can give something of worth, and in exchange for people's money, that people will feel happy that they did business with you, right? So as much as there's a negative aspect of that, we can learn it to do everyday business in an ethical way, right? We're presently in chapter 2 of our main book. That's where we are right now. We're talking about the Putin. We did the first part to it last week. Today we're going to do the second part to it. And the Putup, I keep on confusing it. I say Putin. Many places have written Putin, but really the Thai is called the Putup, and it's pretty much about just knowing your mark. It's pretty much knowing the victim. Sun Tzu would say that if you know yourself and know your enemy or your victim, you will win all the time. If you only know your victim and you don't know yourself, you win some, you lose some. If you only know yourself and you don't know the victim, you will win sometimes, you lose sometimes. If you don't know yourself, you don't know the victim, you win, you lose all the time. And this is why predictors always study. Predictors know their limit. God has made predictors with an instinct to know their limit. I'm talking about predictors in the animal kingdom. Also, they know their limits, right? But what they might not know is their victim, right? Their their prey, so they stay and study their prey. They are studying looking for weakness. They're studying looking for weakness so they can pounce and use that weakness against their prey, right? No predator suddenly jumps on its prey. No, every one of them studies and watch and waits for the right moment to pound on the prey, having understood the weakness of the prey. And that's what the put up is all about. No con artist just suddenly jumps into a place to go and con people. He marks the ground. He marks the ground. He wants to know who his victim is, who the mark is, and what are the attributes, the weaknesses that it can use to predict on on the victim, right? And that's what chapter 1 is all about. We started last week and we're going to continue today. I'm going to bring up my slide here and we can do a more structured time through it. Uh, so it's a confidence game, and we are in chapter 2 of the book, the Putup. If you can spot someone's weakness a mile away in any room, you can pick up the target, you can pounce on the person. As I was just studying this morning, I saw another definition of a con, you know, or the con game, and I just noted it down. A con game or confidence game is a scheme designed to deceive someone into believing in a false promise, in false promises or fabricated stories, ultimately leading to the victim surrendering money, information, or valuable asset. Unlike outright theft, a con relies heavily on building trust and exploiting psychological vulnerabilities. A con is not one that you take a gun to, you don't take from the person by force, but you build trust so that the person gives the valuable to you willingly, right? That's a key mark of a con. It's not armed robbery, even though you depart with your goods. It's that you willingly give it because you trust in the person you are giving it to, right? You've been hypnotized, you've been deceived to think that you're doing the right thing by giving away your valuables, right? That's a key thing about the con. And for you to be able to do that, you have to it has to be that they built enough trust. And for them to build enough trust, they must know you, right? They must know you. And that's one thing I say about hypnotism. Nobody can hypnotize you except you give attention to that person. If you don't give attention to someone, you cannot be hypnotized. If people are doing any game around and you don't give attention to it, for someone to hypnotize you, you must give attention. You must turn to that person, give attention to that person. Then that person can use what he or she knows about you to trap you, to hypnotize you, right? So a con game, it requires you to believe in the person conning you, for you to be hypnotized enough to give your valuables away, out of trust, right? So we have to be careful who we give our trust to, you know, but even then, a con game, it's typically developed in such a way that you would want to give it away, right? And that's one of the things, those are things we'll be discussing because they give you a bait. They know what you want and they give it to you. It's like a fish. No fish wants to be trapped. No fish wants to be hooked. No, no, no. If you show the hook to the fish won't go there, won't bite it, right? But you hide the hook behind what the fish wants. Same thing for everyone that gets conned, is that what you want is covering the hook, right? What you want is the bait. You go for what you want, but hidden behind what you want is the hook that holds you captive, that hypnotizes you, right? That makes you a prisoner, right? So those are the things we're studying as we're looking at.